Hey, what's up YouTube, it's Stella-Jaz, and today we're going to be talking about nihilistic spiritualism, or spiritualism without purpose, or spiritualism without a point. Okay, so first of all, we should discuss why nihilism. Okay, that's of course the thumbnail of this video. And the reason why nihilism is because excessive purpose is actually more of a problem than purposelessness, I find. Okay, that's just my opinion. Now, the reason that I find this is because, for me at least, it never even entered my mind that things could just be pointless, anything could just be pointless, until I was like 14, because I was raised to believe that everything had a purpose, everything had a reason for happening, and everything had a plan. And actually that terrified me. The idea that things were predestined to go a certain way because they were on a set track, like they had fate, or they had, destiny or something like that, that terrified me. But as I grew up, I realized, oh, well, this was the plan. This was supposed to be the destiny of this situation. It wasn't that way. People say they know how to, read destiny, and they're wrong. And that means that, if everyone that's read, fate or destiny has been wrong, and the future keeps happening in a way that nobody expects, then I think it's random. I think that it doesn't have a meaning. That blew my mind. That concept of something not having a meaning blew my mind. And when I started applying that to more things in my life, until I realized that technically we started out as a tiny ball of energy, and we go back to this huge ball of expanded energy that's very not dense and full of space, and then we collapse back down, or we stretch out, okay, either causing us to burn up or freeze, and either causing us to restart or the universe to end. But either way, it all happened and it all ended, and nothing that we did on this planet impacted any of it. And here's why that's amazing. The reason it's a good thing that nothing we do in this life, in the long term, affects this universe, other than applying another experience to it, uploading another unit of lifetime, is because what if it did? What if we actually did have an impact on this universe, and everything that we did really mattered toward the end result of the whole universe? And if everything we did actually had, something that could give it definitive, non-subjective purpose, okay, then to what end? Okay, to what end would the purpose be? It would be one purpose to the end of completing another purpose, to the end of completing another purpose, to the end of completing the next goal, and then you end up in the same situation that we have on Earth, which is people going from one objective to the next, to the next, to the next, completing life like a mission, but never actually finding satisfaction in it. And that's dudes in suits, by the way. Purpose implies more purpose. If you have a goal, then that goal is to the end of another goal. That's the whole thing. It's a big maze. Every goal ties into every other goal to achieve this one great thing, you'd think, but it's actually not this one great thing, because in the end, none of these little miniature goals affect the larger outcome of even this planet, or this solar system, or maybe even just the country you're living in, okay? It's not that big of a deal in the large scale. And so that pretty much completely removes any stress from the situation of living, right? Or the primary stress from the situation of living, which is the fact of endless goals. Goal after goal after goal after goal after goal. Endless objectives that you have to reach somehow, and they just keep going on forever. When you realize that none of the objectives actually matter, and they're just there, then you just keep living life at a pace that is, suitable for living life. However fast you have to achieve the goals or not, you don't worry about it anymore. You're just doing your best at it. You're just putting in effort continuously, and that's pretty much all you can do. So why try to do more than that if that's all you can do in the first place? There's no reason to have excessive purpose like that causing you stress. So now let's look at the spiritualism aspect of that word, nihilistic spiritualism. Well, for me, living a spiritual lifestyle literally just means that whatever happens to you in your life is a learning experience. It's a growth experience, and you use it to evolve. And that's actually all spirituality. That's all it really is. Okay, now life, being a living thing, any kind of living thing, implies spirit. Now why is that? Because somewhere in its brain, there is a tangle of electrical signals going across each other and reaching neurons to make this thing inexplicably somehow think. It has thoughts now. It's receiving energy from somewhere, creating little programs in its brain. Anyway, it's clearly online now. It's clearly transferring data. Somehow. It's living. That's what spirit is. It's the moving of this mental energy, this consciousness energy. That's all spirit is. Okay, when you have something that's spirit, you can see that on every level, every single thing that lives evolves. It doesn't matter if you're talking about evolution as in generation after generation after generation getting better than the last, or evolution as in, monkeys going from not using tools to using tools, and that's happening already. Or evolution from you being a child to you growing up, or evolution from you being immature to being mature. Okay? We all evolve somehow. We're all progressing and changing. So it's the art of change. Changing in a way that suits you best. When you understand that nothing really matters in the long term, there's no huge purpose or grand plan, then it gets really, really easy to view your hardships, suffering, pain, lessons, whatever you want to call it, but the parts of your life that are difficult, it gets a lot easier to view them like learning experiences, because you realize, oh, well, this suffering right now, it's going to end. It doesn't really matter that much. It's all just temporary. This is just chemicals in my brain. Or perhaps the work that you put into a project that has now failed, and now you're suffering from, the loss of all of your work. You can more easily come to the realization, well, I put a lot of work into that, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. I'll just have to redo it. It's already happened. It's in the past. It's over. It does not matter. Okay? That becomes a lot easier to do when you realize that nothing inherently matters. People have this idea in their head, most people do, that there's some things that just inherently matter, like respecting your elders, or, voting every year, or every 4 years. Now, another thing about excessive purpose is the amount of time that it wastes. Like, if you can see something is logically most likely going to fail, but because you have that sense of purpose, pulling you forward, you have that sense of meaning that's just drawing you toward this one thing that's going right down the sewer hole, it wastes a lot of time. Now, as with anything nihilistic, where do you get the motivation to complete actions if there's no external force pushing you to actually complete the actions? Like, if there's no, good or bad or winning or losing there to direct you in the direction that you want to go, how do you know which direction you want to go? Well, what do you want to experience? Everybody wants to experience something. They want an experience that they want to have. What can you do to make that happen? What can you do to make yourself better at making that happen? What can you do to make yourself better suited for when it happens? What can you do to guide your whole life in the direction of the experience that you want? When everything is based around what you want to be experiencing in your life, what you want your life to look like, then everything that you do is guided in that direction. But when you realize that nothing matters, when things don't go the way that they're supposed to, which nothing ever does almost, then it's very, very easy to just pick up that broken plate and glue it back together with, the golden sparkles, or however they repair plates in Japan. I'm not really sure what I'm talking about there, but anyway, yeah. That was today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the bell notification icon